everybody. Welcome back to Nifty Dimensions. I am Rizzo, your host. Today we have with us Mr. Chuck Williams from Flote.app and Flote Token. How's it going, Chuck?
I'm great. Glad to be here, man. Appreciate the invite.
Yeah, thanks for coming by, man. I'm pretty excited about what I heard so far when I was in Miami. You were explaining a bit about Flote, and Freeman and I were there.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it was good to run in both of you guys. Freeman, I met at, I think it was Free Your Mind 3 or 4 back in 2013 or 14. And yeah, we chatted up, and it was so crazy to run into him there, just standing across the expo hall there. And I'm like, holy crap, that's Freeman.
Right.
It was a great little reunion there after, 7 years.
Right. Yeah, it's cool. It's been fun to see so many cool people from the Free Your Mind days. I've been noticing what they're doing, and it's been pretty interesting to see how many of them are involved in crypto in some way and some new adventures. It's been really cool.
Oh yeah.
Especially with what you're doing.
Cryptocurrency certainly attracts the free-minded.
Oh yeah. It's funny. I didn't know. I was totally naive. I was one of those people that was offered a free Bitcoin forever ago. And I was on a tour with my band, and some stranger was like, yeah, I'll just send one to you. I'll set up a wallet. One of my band members said yes. I was too lazy. It was the middle of the night. I went to sleep. He got a free Bitcoin. You know, the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, right. Nice. Wow.
Yeah. I learned
everybody has to experience that loss or know that they've, they coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Totally.
The sooner you get the FOMO, the better.
Right. I'm with it. It was funny. Freeman actually was the one. He was like, hey, do you know what an NFT is? This is a while ago now, but I didn't know. But ironically, that was the thing that got me into crypto, because it showed me like the freedom of the artistic freedom that it creates for people, and not just artistic, but it creates a whole new world of freedoms and excitements that I didn't know were there. They were there the whole time, and I was unaware. So yeah.
I think NFTs are going to be like a secret like wave that's just going to wash across all of society, and they're not even going to know it has anything to do with crypto.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I guess let me ask you some questions. I do have a few set up for you. Just to kind of awesome.
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. We've been talking about this. Freeman and I have been looking at Flote.app, and I know you have the Flote Token. So yeah, you want to tell us a little bit about Flote.app? And
yeah, so Flote.app is essentially I personally describe it not exactly the same way as King does, our CEO, Kingsley Edwards, or our Chief Community Officer, Aaron Edwards. I basically, when I'm telling people about it, they're very familiar with Facebook, and me being a UI UX developer for 20x years, I just try to, quick and dirty. I say it's like Facebook with a Bitcoin wallet, like that's the basic starting point. And if we get a chance to talk more about it, then I get into, okay, well, you can have subscription tiers. We don't take fees for any of the money that's exchanged, tips, super chat, that kind of thing. We have that stuff on live streams. We have a pretty high quality live streaming environment that's always improving. And the biggest sell for me and a lot of the people who are on the platform is, if you've been deplatformed or if you've been censored, we'll never do that. We'll never censor you. We'll never deplatform you as long as you're not breaking a law or threatening to harm people, right? Just follow the non-aggression principle, which I think a lot of freedom folk are capable of doing and often take personal responsibility to do so. As long as we can maintain that and self-police ourselves, then we shouldn't get into any trouble, and that's kind of Flote in a nutshell, but there's a lot more coming. That's what it is. And I'm the kind of person who I don't like to pump. I don't like to lie. I don't like to market. I don't like to hype, so right. I'm really anti-hype. So I like to talk about what we've done and what we are. But I will get into, for a lot of people who are interested, there's a lot coming. You can speculate on a lot. We have, of course, the Flote token that we're trying to launch. I want to say Q4 conservatively. Cool. We're rebuilding the tech stack from a Ruby backend to a Node microservices backend with gRPC APIs, keys, and stuff like that. And then I'm changing the Angular front end to a React front end. So there's a lot of tech, and we can talk about that tech all day long if you want.
Awesome.
And then what I'm excited about with Flote in that direction is that's going to give us a solid foundation to really build a lot of new, exciting interactive functionality on top of with the token. Boosting advertisements, boosting posts, doing focused campaign marketings. We want to build in tools so you can research your audience. Those kinds of things. We want to talk about, supporting people who have subscription tiers and things like that, really promoting the economy and making those transactions super fast. And awesome. Of course, relevant to our program here today, NFT minting is something we definitely want to get into. And we're exploring a lot of different, that's a whole explosion of opportunity just waiting for it to be untapped.
Definitely. Yeah, that's something I've only minted two so far. I mean, I've minted a few on OpenSea, but as far as ones that I've sold on Foundation, I've minted 2 NFTs so far. That's about as far as I've gotten. It's been,
You're ahead of me.
What's that? I'm sorry.
You're ahead of me.
Oh, okay, cool. It's been fun, and I love doing it. I'm working on tons of them, but I've been putting all my heart and soul into the show. So I've been just doing more spotlight artist reviews on different NFT artists, and even certain things like vinyl records and collectibles and stuff like that. We've been steering into some of the different areas. But just to rewind real quick, because I know you had said that cryptocurrency is connected to Flote.app. And when I was on there, I've been on there, and I have noticed that it says there's a section for Bitcoin. So how's that work? Do you can tip people? Okay.
Yeah. That's so cool. You can go in a live stream and you can send a tip to the streamer. You can do that pretty much anytime. There's a lot of people who have 24-hour streams, and you can just go in there and go to your Bitcoin wallet and send money to anybody. But if you go on Flote.app, you can basically send money to any user on the platform at any time.
That's awesome.
And that's through direct chat, direct message. And you can see the transaction history when you click on your profile. There's basically a little mini Bitcoin wallet that pops out, and you kind of have to go through your wallet to get to your settings. So we really want to make sure that people see that wallet is there and visible. So that's where it's at.
Awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, I've personally, I left Facebook so many years ago. It's not my speed as far as just all the drama that was on there. And also when I saw that this was existing, it was exciting for me. I've been a little hesitant because my social media, I don't do social media much. This is really a stretch for me to do a YouTube channel, but I'm on Twitter now as far as an NFT artist and as far as doing the show, but social media has freaked me out because of all the things, obviously, look who I'm talking to, that we've seen as far as our freedoms being taken away, our freedom of speech, sharing information, all the doctors that were into this or that maybe they weren't allowed to say this or that about certain things. And
the truth is getting pretty extreme these days with all the lies that are being pushed by the systems.
Definitely. So I'm excited. I'll be on there more, especially it'll take me a little bit to come back around to the social media aspect, but that's just me personally. Everybody else I know that I've told them about it, they're really excited right from the gate because they love social media. Most people are all about it. And I think it's the only way for us to make connections in these times. Further connections instead of just Joe Schmo down the street.
That's an important principle here. We all agree on the Flote team. I mean, it's a very interesting eclectic group of freedom loving folks here. I think most of us would identify as anarchists, but we're certainly all voluntarists, depending on your nuance to those definitions. And I think that we want to promote those things. And one of the things we've noticed in our conversations about the direction of Flote from a strategic perspective is that we're seeing a lot of social media is essentially affecting that networking capability, which to us is limiting people's freedom to associate, which is kind of one of those basic rights. And, this kind of hierarchical policing that's driven by, let's say, elitist organizations such as the World Economic Forum, influencing Facebook's policies, which they seem to align very, very much in parallel. That seems like something that shouldn't be happening,
right?
Especially for a platform that spends a lot of its time and money researching how to manipulate minds to stay on the platform.
Wait, you're not a fan of Klaus? You're not Mr. Schwab's fan? No,
no, I'm not. I don't like the idea of never owning anything and not having an opportunity to participate in even capitalistic ideals, as nasty as that word's become, but really just ideals of freedom.
Yeah. You'll own nothing and you'll like it.
Right. Yep. Not a big fan.
Nah, me neither. Go figure. That's cool though. I'm glad. I try not to dabble too far into certain topics on the YouTube channel, but I'm glad we got to touch on that a little bit, because it's really important, and the whole reset thing and all that.
Yeah, do your own research, folks. Don't be shy.
Right.
Flote's a great place to have those discussions. You won't be censored.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really good way to put it too, because it's really needed, and all the information has been crunched down so far that there's a lot of people that aren't getting, like one of my family members, I had explained that certain doctors this whole time have been saying certain things and they're not allowed to. And he was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I never heard anything like that. And it just showed me, right. It's just, wow. Like it really, it's a good job done by those keeping the information from getting out. Although it sucks for everybody having to deal with it, but
right.
Yeah.
And that's one of the, I think, the undercurrents of the ecstatic desire that I see in people for something like a float, something that's really going to stand by freedom and ideals and things like that. And we're taking measures from an architectural ground up position to, even aligning with our offshore hosted server platforms to say, look, if we get in trouble, you're going to go to bat for us, right? Yes, we will go to bat for you. We're not going to get deplatformed by some AWS service like, what was that? Was it Parler? Simultaneously deplatformed by Google, Amazon Web Services, and several other providers.
Yeah.
I mean, they coordinated against them. I mean, how is that not corporate espionage? Isn't that like illegal?
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy what they're getting away with right now. It's insane. But that's actually why I felt like crypto was a good way to go as far as knowing where the future is and knowing how things are going. The fiat system, I was bitching about that way before I even understood what a blockchain was or how crypto worked in any way. So now that I get it, I do see crypto assets as being from Bitcoin to an NFT, something for intelligent people to get into now, to see that there is a way to invest in your future. Granted, you might have to do some homework, as opposed, are you getting a shit coin? Are you getting a coin with a utility? All these things, but yeah, at the end of the day, I went from not knowing it all to realizing investing into the future little by little, even if it's just dollar cost averaging over time and accumulating. I think it's a good idea. Like we always say, because everybody has to say that we're not financial advisors, but for myself, I think it's a good idea. How do you feel about, are you accumulating, or how's it your crypto world for you?
So, I mean, I got into Bitcoin through a personal project back in 2015, and I don't want to make the story too long, but I am an emphatic collector of as much crypto as I can afford to collect. Nice. I would align myself with somebody who is a financial macro advisor who basically says I'm irresponsibly long Bitcoin and Ethereum. Awesome. This was as of a few months ago. That's Raul Paul. If you guys want to do some more research on that, and I have no affiliation, but I follow macro news as much as I can. So, giving a shout out to George Gammon and Raul Paul and the Rebel Capitalist programs and Lynn Alden and all those people. Awesome. They're on it with what's going on with money, and they keep me informed enough to know, to help me make decisions on my allocations and my portfolio diversification, which, I still recommend, to my friends and family, a bit of silver and metals and gold and things like that, if you have disposable income to invest in your future. But that's not a majority for me, So yeah, I'm definitely a fan, and I advocate for it. And I know sometimes it can be painful if you're not used to volatility, but for me personally, I spent most of my life living paycheck to paycheck, and I really didn't have any savings until I got into crypto. And since then, it's kept me out of bankruptcy twice, which is a really, really big deal. I've found that really helpful.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm with it. I'm glad to hear that. I've had a lot of, since I'm new, literally, I think I bought my first bit of crypto on Coinbase maybe about 4 or 5 months ago tops. Like I'm really new. I just got very obsessed with it and immersed myself into it to where I think I've learned a bit over time, mostly from learning hard lessons like aping into a rug pull and not realizing what all that was.
Yeah.
And just buying a low cap coin thinking like, oh, it's exciting because some guy on YouTube said like, this is the one to get. And I didn't know. There was nobody to hold my hand. So I entered the crypto realm on my own and had to learn the lessons all on my own, from MetaMask to you name it.
I think that's a great way to learn, though. I mean, it can be very, very painful, but without a way to evaluate trustworthy sources, that is being continuously stripped away from us. It's hard to gain that knowledge and accelerate in this place. And that's why, like, honestly, like I want to be careful with phrases like do your own research, because not a lot of people have time to do that research.
That's true.
And that's why we want to make Flote a safe haven for people who really want to seek the truth. And we want to make it a safe place to speak the truth, even if it's ugly, even if it's, somewhat painful, so we can kind of learn collectively from our failures and build the better future.
Definitely. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I won't hold you too long. So I just have one more question for you. I would like to know your plans for the future. When I spoke to you at Shitcoin 2021, it was pretty interesting. As far as chi and energy goes, I met a lot of people there, but your positivity and you're showing how much you really believed in what you were doing. It goes a long way, especially to somebody like me. I don't really know I don't know the difference between this or that in the crypto world, but how you were explaining, and even the Flote token you gave us, we got one of these.
Yeah.
Even has the chip. So
QR code.
Seeing how you're doing it, it's very awesome. And I'm just curious if you have any plans for the future that you'd like to discuss. And if not, no worries. I just figured I'd like to see where your thoughts were at for the future. Yeah.
So I mentioned technically we're doing a relaunch. Like, we're going to get out of beta. I'm going to say conservatively again by Q4. And what that means is we're gonna relaunch our new stack where hopefully all of the stability issues that people may have run into, a lot of the bugs that people have run into, will all be like replaced or extracted from the system when we switch to the new platform, which nice. From a software developer's perspective just means we get a whole new set of issues, but it should set us up for continued and accelerated improvements. And some of those improvements specifically are going to be first off, I want to direct people to, we have a separate website for anything token related, FLOTE token.com. So cool. You can go to FLOTE.token.com, watch for updates there. Sign up for notifications, things like that. We've got multiple channels spread across for that. So really the Flote token is really a big team focus. And what we're doing here right now is a big part of that kind of marketing push. We want to connect with people who are podcasting, people who have audiences, people who have followers, and we want to spotlight users also, and start doing an exchange and start getting in touch more and more with people like yourself to say, hey, how can we make Flote a utility service for the freedom community? Totally. So that's the big principle. That's the big idea that I think that we're all in agreement about. And that manifests, I think, as a lot of different things. Once we get the token on board, of course, we're going to start issuing rewards to content producers on the platform. You post something, you'll get a reward based on your likes, reposts, and comments that you get on that piece of content. And we're going to issue those limited edition tokens, where there's only going to be 21 million of them. And those are going to be released on the Bitcoin blockchain, or on the same schedule as the Bitcoin blockchain. It is going to be an ERC20 token, just for people who may have questions, but we're going to run it on the Polygon network. So the transactions will be super cheap or free.
Nice.
And so that's one of the big things that we want to offer to the community. And as a part of that, this is kind of exclusive news. I think one of the decisions that we recently made is any balances that we have in the Bitcoin wallet service on the platform right now, we're going to convert that to wrapped Bitcoin and just go with the Ethereum stack for now, just to make that whole thing kind of smooth, fast, easier, cheap to work with, and make that easier for people to grab their private keys and move that money around however they want, whenever they want, gain complete control over that.
Sweet.
So that's like the next major move that we're doing. And then with the platform stability, we've got some future features that we're kind of debating about. One big one that keeps coming up is groups and group management. I think connected to that might be events and event management. And if we kind of bake all those together with NFT minting, there's a lot of different ideas that we have in terms of badging, voucher systems, group subscription programs, a lot of different things that we want to do on the Flote platform that I think can act as a utility service for the freedom community to network and connect and subscribe to one another's information, support each other, one another's content, those sorts of things, and really create a strong community oriented around, freedom to associate and freedom to speak ideals.
That's beautiful. That sounds great, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us here are very happy to be aligned in our values and just showing up for work every day just to do that stuff. Right. It makes for a hard work-life balance when you want to work all the time, because you know that you're doing something meaningful and that people want and are demanding for and cheering you on for. And every time we push a deploy that fixes one more thing, we all get that little dopamine hit.
Totally.
That little thin win.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, before I let you go, I like to ask everybody one question that gets on the show, and it's very lighthearted, but I'm always curious what somebody's first collectible was, or toy, or the first thing you got maybe when you were a kid, or anywhere through something that was valuable or collectible. For me, it was Garbage Pail Kids. I owned them all, lost them, and could have been wealthy.
I was watching your episode 1 actually, and I didn't finish it, but I did see that that came up, and I remember the Garbage Pail Kids fondly. I had some, and there was a little bit of trading going on with my friends, but I certainly never held on to those. But I guess technically that would be it. But I guess the thing that I got most serious about was Magic the Gathering, and I still have a whole bunch of those cards. And not like, I've been in and out of that probably 3 times now. Awesome. Since college, back in 95 or 96.
I know Freeman's still into it.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. For a long
I'll have to bring some decks next time I see if I can run into him.
Dude, that would make his day. He's always saying, like, because I've never played. I've always had friends that played, and I know what it is, but I've never gotten into it, unfortunately. And he's always saying, every time I talk to him, like when we're getting into stuff like that, he's always wishing that somebody around here played Magic the Gathering. So that's cool, man. No, awesome.
These days, I wanted to throw out there, like, what's the first thing? Like, I wanted to carry that to, well, what am I collecting now? Because I asked myself that question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell am I collecting now? Because I don't like, I've kind of tried to detach from a lot of the materialistic stuff, and I like that stuff. One of the first things that came to mind was conference badges. I'm collecting those.
Oh, nice. That's
an interesting
cool.
one.
Yeah.
I got real jealous of one guy's that had been to probably hundreds of conferences and spoke at a bunch of them, and I was like, no, I can do that too. And so I started collecting conference badges, and then network, like connections, like contacts. Like, I'm collecting contacts of people of a certain ilk, people who are leaders in their space, that I think can help me with my big idea, that I honestly want to spin out a Flote eventually, because I need something like a Flote to build on top of. And that's another secret project that nobody really like outside of Flote really knows about.
Okay. We'll keep it secret then. I don't know, but whatever the secret is, I'm excited to hear down the road.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, I'll launch it with great fanfare, and it will be beautiful.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, I like to leave the floor for anybody I'm interviewing. Anything you want to get out there, any last thoughts or anything, by all means, please let the people know.
Right on. Yeah. Well, I always preach like all value is belief. And that can be unpacked in a lot of different ways. But the way I like to think about it is basically everything that you could possibly value, whether they're crypto or fiat or NFTs or your family or, you know, your equipment set up for your podcasting systems, like all this stuff, or even just like mental or emotional values, all that stuff. I have concluded are stemmed from collections of beliefs. And if we can continue to test our beliefs and review them, share them with others, make sure that they actually hold up and align with reality, the more that we can do that, the more that we will be in a good position to actually be valuing the right things. So all value is belief, and what you value is what you love. Love what you value.
Awesome. Well said, man. That's great. That's awesome. Well, it was really nice having you on the show. I think the people are going to get a lot of information out of this. I know I did personally. So I can't thank you enough. And if there's ever a time, there's updates or anything you want to let people know about on this show, we're always happy to have you. Like, I really seriously appreciate it, man.
Awesome. Make sure you get your Flote account set up, Flote.app or joinflote.com. And I want to see you on when we start doing our UX specials. We'll start asking you how we can make Flote a better place for you.
You got it. All right, everybody, check that out. And Chuck from Flote.app, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.